most people only understand the world they can see. And although I lean towards that myself, and it's not true, but I can see where I have. I've had discussions with some folks, some people, some friends about the spiritual war going on. And my question was, well, how do I fight a spiritual war when I'm physical? I'm doing it all the time. So are you. And I just didn't see it. For me, it's all the little temptations, all the stupid things that I've been programmed to believe I need and I want to do and that I desire. I desire this and I desire that because television told me to. Granted, it was 30 years ago when television told me that's what I desired. But that's how strong the program was. As far as a relationship goes, maybe 10 videos back at this point, maybe 15, I was saying, I desire a relationship, but that's not true. That's not lining up what I desire with my heart. That's all in my head, that I want a relationship. Because, and I meditated on this. I went back as far as I could go. I must have been 8 years old when I told my father, no, I'm not into girls. That's gross. But I imagine someday I'll get married and have a family. At 8. Girls are gross, but I don't understand that. Why I was already in that program before 8 years old. That I was going to have a relationship and a family, and I was going to make it work because my parents weren't. Recent events and conversations. And the events for me are the proof or the proof or what I needed to see. I needed to see it happen. But it's happened before. You meet somebody, hang out for a day, it's incredible, and the next day she turns into your ex-wife. That's what happened to me. It was, and I didn't care. It was like, this is different from when that's happened before, when I'd be really into somebody thinking, well, this is going to be nice, let's make it work, and the energy was there. I was shutting down the energy long before that day, the second day was over. I knew right away. Surprised I got the girl's name. I'm kidding about that. Because I've talked to girls for 5 minutes and realized, no, let's go right to the breakup. And it's not the girls, it's me and the situation I'm in. Recently I've been hearing a lot of people going, wow, man, girls are just weird. Welcome to the club. I apologize to all the women out there who aren't weird, because there are just as much crazy men out there, I'm sure. Okay, when you try and date and stuff. Now, you know what? You need to meet somebody and be friends with them for probably a good 3 months to 6 months before you even consider hanging out with them in a relationship fashion. Sad to say, because we got these hormones and we just want to hit everything in town and move on to the next one. And I'm afraid that's how we may have been built, just to have sex with somebody and go on to the next person, and that's not the way I've been programmed. And that's, it's a lot going on out there. Maybe I see it because of where I'm at and at the bar. The ratio from men to women is 10 to 1. That's 10 men for every 1 woman. And, every 3 of those out of 10, or every 6 of those out of 10 are married, with 2 boyfriends. So that's as far as the relationship part goes. That's something I realized I'm backing off on. And I actually did a practice, another test, if you will. I related it to when I would have negative thoughts. And I just walk around going, yes, that's right, I'm going to kick your ass. Well, what, because of this, And I'm like, wait, where's that shit coming from? This isn't, and I learned how to shut it down. This is years ago, before all this stuff started happening. So I learned how to do that, trained myself to do that, and, the negative thoughts were gone. I did the same thing the other day, last couple of days. Today I didn't have too much. I worked. But I'd see a cute girl, and she might walk by and smile at me, and that's it, and boom, keep going. And I might look at, and look at a girl. As soon as I start thinking, oh, wait a minute, let me see if I could bump into her. I just shut it all down. And it was fantastic. And then what happened was I run into this girl that I've been attracted to who works in a store that I go to often. And, I would just talk. We would talk about our cats. It's a pet store. And I wanted to shut it down. And I think I may have. And then she just come over to me and we started talking again, and I was like, okay, this is what's going to happen. I'm going to shut it down and I'm going to find the relationship I'm not looking. Okay. I'm going to shut it down. I'm going to surrender to, because I've put that formula out there. I don't know for how many years. And now I'm like, hoping, I'm like, oh, okay, let's just back that up a little. Cause I got too much going on now to worry about a relationship. Start entertaining. She'd have to be Mandela affected. I don't care what shape she thinks the planet is. But this is also part of that process. This is part of that test. Because for me to deny an urge, because there's a difference between an urge and a desire. And now, how much time am I going to have to decide whether, is this a desire or is this an urge? You know what? I know the difference. So that's how I'd be fighting the spiritual battle. When those urges come in, no. And it's not just sex or dating or, having a relationship. Because having a relationship's not the problem. It's having the right relationship and the wrong relationship. And getting out of that as quickly as possible when you know it's wrong. But if it's wrong that quick, then you missed it. You shouldn't have done it. You shouldn't have done it. Guess what? This is number 2. Better not show the label. I don't know if that really matters. This is my second beer of the day. I waited. I didn't have anything during work when normally I would. I'll have 2 or 3 beers, mainly 2, if that, during the course of the night. And I decided today, no, I'm going to cut it out. It was something I spoke with one of my friends online. I don't know, and just that about sleeping too heavy and not getting the proper. It was Nobleness D, and he worded it as you're not going to get the downloads right, or and I'm not. I want to understand his definition of downloads, and I'll have to ask him that sometime. Which reminds me, today's the 10th. So I guess it was the 7th. I had a really high-pitched ring in my left ear, really high-pitched. And at first, instead of fighting it, I said, whoa, no, you know what, let's take this in. I laid back and I took it in. I accepted it. And, does it matter that I noticed changes? I noticed really small changes at the bar. I'm like, wait a minute. How come these spoons are bent? I got 2 or 3 spoons at the bar that are all bent up. And I'm like, oh, that's for, layering drinks. Well, when did we start doing that? They've been there. Where they are, I've cleaned and replaced things there. A couple of times. So they weren't there for me. I've never seen these things. How tiny and insignificant is that? Still a shift. There was a plastic head that we found that we're cleaning the basement out still a little bit at a time, and found this thing, and it was like a picture. It was a face of Dracula or some sort of vampire. He was looking straight. Last week, he's looking to the left. And Eric pointed it out to me, and he goes, come here. He goes, look at this. And I'm looking at it, and I'm going, wasn't he looking straight? And he goes, yeah. So this plastic head, as far as he and I are concerned, was looking straight, and then now it's turned to the left, and it's looking left. And like we've spoken with everybody else in the bar, and they're all like, "Ooh, don't remember." Now he brought it to my attention. He said it was definitely straight. And I'm like, I guarantee you it was straight. Not only that, I said, I'm pointing out, look, the makeup on him is darker now, and everything looks like it's been repainted over. And he just started laughing. And there's been a lot of activity at the bar recently. I'd say in the last 2 weeks. There's been some activity. Some people have seen. One thing that proved something to me is if I'm down there by myself closing, and it's dark in the back, I will see a shadow out of the corner of my eye go from the kitchen to the ladies' room. I don't think nothing of it. I see stuff like this all the time. I blow it off. It's like, guys, somebody else went through the doors. Okay, whatever. Or an energy went through the doors, whatever it is. But this shadow that was going from the ladies' room, from the kitchen to the ladies' room, I really blew off, because for me it was only just a shadow, and I always thought, maybe it's something in my eye, or it's always the same spot, and I don't seem to, make a difference. I don't really put my energy into that stuff. But the other day, a regular that does not believe in ghosts or spirits or anything like that comes in, and he starts screaming. He goes, I just saw a woman walk from the kitchen to the ladies' room. And Eric's sitting there, and he goes, yeah, you've seen her too? And he starts to describe her. And the other guy's going, huh? And I'm just sitting there with my jaw hitting the ground going, well, all I've ever seen was a shadow. And she does it all the time. And I'm like, now that it's more of a thing, I blurted out, wait a minute, she doesn't even see us. And Eric's like, no, she has no idea what she's doing, what's going on. That's just one thing. There's been other things going on like crazy. You say, sir, the lights were flickering. And we're figuring, all right, it's a short. I got to go fix the light on the switch or anything. Eric's like, nah, leave it. I said, all right, I leave it. And he goes, show yourself. And all the lights go out. And he goes, that's not what I mean. And, to me, that was a plain answer. I just froze. I said, dude, I'm turning the lights on. And I clicked them on. This is down at the bar in the restaurant area. So there's been some activity down there. Nothing negative. Anything negative I felt while I was here the first year has left. Around October. I haven't even smudged the place. Anything that's negative that is still here is staying at bay. But like I said, we don't really pay much attention to it, to me. But Eric's told me stories where he's just sitting there looking at somebody and thinking, wow. And I'm like, well, what do you mean, wow? He goes, well, one of the old owners is just sitting there on that chair looking at us. And I'm like, dude, that's just freaky. That's just weird. So, and he has no expression on his face or anything. He's just sitting there watching. Okay. He said he was on the cameras and he saw orbs. He said he saw purple orbs over my head. I said, well, that's easy. I know what that is. I said, they're making sure I don't screw up the drawer. I said, they're just watching. I said, what are they? I said, they're violet flame angels. Even if they never existed, I created them. I've said it so much back in the past. I said, they're just watching over me. And between 8 and 9 in the morning, if you come down and walk through the bar, you will see orbs floating over the old telephone booth, if you know what that is. Just strange, stupid stuff. But it's also the alcohol. That's something else that's going to have to go. Now, I have had 2 beers tonight, and I probably won't have any tomorrow. I probably forget the third day that I was even stopping drinking. Drinking's not going to be a problem. Stopping drinking is not going to be a problem for me. The only problem I'm going to have with stopping drinking is dealing with the drunks downstairs. That's about it. And the weed's something else. And I think the weed's a big one, because I don't think that's something that's it'll bother me. I've smoked pot my whole life. But since I became manager here, I haven't had time to really smoke. It's cut back way more than when I was just bartending. Now it's almost medicinal. It's almost a couple hits, relax before I go to bed. I wake up in the morning. I don't smoke. I don't smoke in the afternoon. I got stuff to do. I got to be coherent. And that's been going on since October. So, I haven't been smoking that much weed. But I did. I mean, I don't know. It wasn't nothing wrong with it. It's like, let's put it this way. If I wanted it, I had it. And it's still that way. I just don't have the time. And, there's some responsibility I created in my life here to me that, yeah, you know what? I could probably do this job stoned. I don't want to. I don't want to. That's not what I want. When you manage, one of the best ways to manage is to show by experience. I'm going to do the stuff I want them to do. Unfortunately here, I'm doing all the stuff and they're going, he's going to do it. We don't have to. So, but that's another story. I don't mind. But the alcohol, the weed, the cigarettes, these are things that are going to be going in very soon. I don't want to call it out because then I'm obligated because I told you. I need to be able to do it and just do it. And I don't need to be telling everybody because that's one of the notes from my book that I swear I finished 5,000 words ago. One of the things for creating is not just surrendering. It's also keeping quiet. All right. So keep quiet with desires. When you're creating, it's nobody's business but yours. And and the really neat thing about this is you do these things consciously. And you go, okay, you know what? I'm going to create this and I'm going to test it. So let's start with the weather, or let's start with what time I wake up. Let me see if I can program myself to, because that's all you're doing. It's a program. And when you create a desire, when you create something, you're just creating a program. And I don't like those terms because it pushes towards more a computer program, and that could absolutely be what is going on. I like other things, so that's where I go with those things. Hey Prince, you coming up? So I guess I could. I actually want to just send this out. It's really nothing. I mean, I haven't really sent anything. I guess I did in a way because I've had a lot of epiphanies chatting with some people in private conversations about desires and how to line them up. And the things that I need to do. And not everything is getting rid of, stopping habits and, not everything is like that. One of the things, those orbs, when they shot all that information in my head, and I told them, slow down, you cut that out, I'll scratch that hardy, come here, you get down. No. Look at that. He's eating this. It's the fortune cookie that I kept. That I never keep these things. I barely read them half the time. Beautiful things await you. What are we waiting for, people? I keep getting that message. What are you waiting for? Get over here. Get down. No, you can't have that. No, I can't have that either. Where did I go? It's I'm still learning. I am still trying to figure out and just boom, boom, boom. I'm thinking once you learn how to create, things are going to get boring. And I don't know that because I feel like I've created the position here that I got to have more responsibility, run a business and run it, sustain it, run it the way I want, run it properly so it's going to make money. And I made myself quite busy. Oh, go ahead. Now, that's good. I'm glad he went over there. We had a secret Santa. Yeah. And that's my gift. He's trying to smack my gift there. I hope we don't try and get on top. This was the gift I got for a Secret Santa. Yeah. Hey, you believe that? That's what I got. Don't spend more than $10. I think this was 15. I was like, man, why are you buying me fake stuff? I mean, I got one over there in my Mandela Effect collection, but that's just because. But this cracks me up. And all these globes are dark, or the oceans are dark, not blue. I don't know. But anyway, I thought that was pretty funny. I think it is the best Secret Santa there, other than the the 2 bundles of wood. That was pretty interesting too. Where are you going now? So, all right, I guess that's enough. I babbled long enough. I mean, there's so many things I'd like to say, so many things I haven't said. You know, I went off on this whole thing about waiting, you know, waiting for something to happen. We don't need to wait. If we can shift our consciousness into timelines that we desire, that's great, but there may be things that you still have to go through. Now, I'm thinking, okay, for me, it was the volcanoes, the possible, alleged volcano eruption in. I just don't want you to start eating anything again. The alleged volcano in February 2015, when I really think that's a very good possibility that a bunch of people died and we're all experiencing Mandela effects now. I think a volcano might have went off. Somebody else said an EMP went off. I said, wow, you know, I remember looking at EMP videos too, and people talking about that. So, you know, it's for me, you know, and I'm like, oh, Armageddon came. I was storing water and food. I don't even know what happened with all that stuff. I don't think I don't think I'll be experiencing any of that stuff. I've had plenty of opportunities to experience Armageddon, or the world being taken over, or the United States getting blown up, or whatever. So that's, you know, I'm done with that. I've shifted on to some other timeline where, you know, I'm going to experience other things. And now we have this spiritual battle. That I can accept. You know, now that I understand it a little bit better, now that I understand that I'm actually fighting that war now by doing the right thing, by saying the right thing to people, by treating people properly, by denying desires that I know aren't my true desires, and being able to go ahead with the desires that line up with my heart. And that would be the first thing. If you're going to create, the first thing is to get your desires in line with your heart. And some of the things are so hard because you've been so polluted by the media and television, movies, Netflix, Amazon, Hulu. You know, for the longest time, I'm not watching TV, but I'm watching Netflix because I really like Fringe. And I enjoyed Continuum a lot. And now I've actually checked out, I'm looking at The Man in the High Tower. Is that what it's called? Yeah, Amazon. The Man in the High Castle, High Tower. You know, I'm watching that now, and it's really interesting where these people are living in a place where Germany won World War II, Japan and Germany occupying the United States. And people are coming across information that says the U.S. won and they shouldn't be living in this reality, but they don't really get there yet. So I don't know. That's what it looks like to me. That's what it looks like that'll be happening. Like they're going, well, this is not the reality we should be living in. Well, that's definitely a Mandela effect. That's definitely a shift of consciousness somehow. At least that's where the movie's going. And why is it all these movies and TV shows? Why are all these TV shows coming out now? You know. All these, although there is the one, I forget what it was called, it's a pretty older one, but anyway. So it's about, you know, that's, for me, when you're going to create, you got to line up your desire properly or the whole thing's just going to get halted. And that was a lot of my failures, and I'm like saying, yes, that that wasn't a failure because I learned from it. Well, it took me a long time to figure out that's what I learned, that my desire wasn't lined up. That's the first step. Desire. And then when you get that down, then the rest of it is, you verbally say it out loud. You lay down, meditate on it like it's actually there. You surrender. You don't tell anybody what you're doing. Keep it to yourself. Surrender to it. Let it go. Move on to the next creation. Well, for me, I've been so entangled in the creation that I've just created that I haven't had time to even think about what else do I want to create. So when I do, or when I did try, it was just getting messed up. But I am still sustaining the first creation, that I feel like I've done. Or it could be a coincidence, or if it's a computer program making me think I created. But I don't think so. It's like double thinking everything. It can keep making me think I'm creating as long as I'm doing it properly. I don't care. I was talking about the changes at the bar. I've noticed a lot of little changes here and there. Nothing to scream about. There were a couple. I'm like, whoa, the Mandela Effects. Oh, a couple at the bar. There was a couple at the bar. I said, spell the Berenstein Bears. And he's Berenstein, because it's Berenstein. 100% sure it is Berensteam. And he's telling me that's the way it's spelled. I said, dude, you definitely don't want to look it up. I said, where are you from? Where are you from? Kuwait. I said, well, that could have something to do with it. I don't know. I have no idea. He looked it up and he was like, AIN. I would have said EIN, he said, but AE. There was an A in the name. For him, there was always an A in the name somewhere. But, they were both 21, this couple, and he was affected, but in denial, kept shutting it down. And she's just sitting there going, and I told her, and I'm like, well, how do you keep saying your consciousness shifts into another timeline? Well, why don't we just shift our bodies? And I said, well, because this scar used to be over here. And she goes, what? And I said, look, Doc, it's an experimental stitch. Go ahead, do whatever you want. I don't care. It's going to be an ugly C. I don't care. It's my left arm. It's my left arm and it's under my elbow. Do what you want. And I don't know when it switched, but I discovered in October of 2016. Yeah, 16. I keep saying 15. I think it was 16. I was in Mississippi, so I figured that out some other time. It's over here. So we don't take our bodies when we shift. That was the question I had at the time. That was how I got the answer. And she says, I have a mole under my right arm, and I have a mole. And she goes, and 3 weeks ago, I've always had a mole on my left butt cheek. And I always knew they were opposite. She goes, but now the mole's under my right butt cheek. But the mole's still here. And I looked at it, and I thought it was really, really weird that I'm looking at the other side. Nothing's on my butt on the other side, and this mole was there. And this girl's in shock. 21-year-old kid shock. She goes, just yesterday, my mother goes, wasn't that on the other side? She's like, I am so glad that you're telling me about this. This is really weird. And I said, yeah, because I had no intention of talking with you guys about this. But you were meant to hear this message. You're meant to go ahead and explore this if you want to. It's really up to you. I just babbled. And I think I did this, and I think I'm going to put this up because, a lot of people, enjoy listening to my videos, and I get it, and that's fine. I put them out for me or other people that'll get something out of it. And I really hope somebody does. I hope somebody comes up with something genius from it and go, wait a minute, he twisted that a little bit. How about we do it this way? Oh, my God, look, it works. That'd be great. But I haven't put up a video in a while. I've been busy with the bar, busy with that creation. And I started to try and create other things, and all I did was learn lessons. I created nothing and learned lessons from it. And it was, about my desires. And, I had questions about the spiritual war going on and how am I supposed to fight that physically. And I got those answers, too. Stars didn't come out at me, orbs didn't talk to me, but I still got the answers in strange, weird ways, So, Prince, So, I guess that's all for now. Hope you guys had great holidays. I'm going to start doing my New Year's resolution soon. Because that's the other thing. I probably don't need to. I probably don't need to stop doing anything. But because it's imprinted in my head that these are bad habits and these are stopping me from experiencing things or creating, I need to get rid of them. Because when I saw these other things, I wasn't smoking pot a lot back then, but I was smoking pot and I was drinking beer. Maybe a 6-pack a week, instead of a case a week or 12, 3, 6, 9, 10, 11, 12, half a case a week. I'm not a big drinker. Don't do the liquor. I did the liquor New Year's Eve. And if you were watching that tape, you saw what happened. It's not, I'm not drinking liquor anymore. I don't need to. If I want to forget, I'll just smoke a lot of pot. It might not be the right thing either, but I guess it's an individual choice. But I'll be stopping all that stuff for a time. I'm going to do a cleansing. I'm going to do the whole bit. Yes, I'm supposed to keep quiet about this, but I'm not telling you when, what specifically, because there are a lot of things that got to stop. Just temporarily, if nothing else. All right, I had enough. I can't believe I went 30 minutes on this. Until next time, shift on. Keep calm and shift on. Totally unrehearsed. Not really expecting to do this total irrelevant video, but I don't know. Because for me, now I've seen this video a couple times where the liver is now 2 pieces, and of course I've heard the excuses for that already. I'm like, no, it was just a slab of meat and that was it. But then again, I've never been inside anybody's body medically, so I don't know. I really don't. I've seen pictures where it didn't show 2 pieces for sure. The big one for me is this Chick-fil-A. Now, the last letter on the end is now capitalized. The A on the end is capitalized, and it never was for me in whatever timelines I resided in. Didn't happen. Also, I've seen a lot more volcano activity. I guess that's, and the earthquake activity. I guess that goes hand in hand. But I've seen little earthquakes around, Yellowstone National Park. Like, wow, really? I don't know. So I'm thinking maybe another mass shift, mass force shift, mass natural shift if it's natural disasters, right? We call them natural disasters. Is anything really natural? I don't know. Chick-fil-A, I got notes all over the place. Chick-fil-A, the A on the end is capitalized. I've also was checking out my old posts on the Mandela Effects site, and I wrote this thing. I should have copied it or rewrote it down because I don't know where it was. I'm gonna have to find it. But I wrote a little list of things that I noticed, small changes that really were insignificant, and pea repellent paint was one of the things I wrote down. I was like, I never heard of such a thing where you could pee on it and it just I guess it just shoots right off. Maybe it comes back at you. Who knows? I thought that was wild. Ran into that. What else I got here? Oh, I was reading watching an old interview with Jesse Spence and Rob Skiba, and I noticed that I started to watch it, and I remembered wanting to go back to it and never did because this thing is it's over a year old, I believe. And I was quite shocked that Jesse affected Rob, or at least showed him that, look, thousands of other people remember it this way. Oh, by the way, you remember it this way too, and that's the way it's never been. You're not the only one. If thousands of people remember it that way, you're not going to be able to brush it off as misremembering. So that whole confabulation thing is out the window. I was really thrilled because I remember I emailed Rob once, maybe. It might have been a message in a video, depending on what timeline you're in, who knows. And I just got the impression and heard of another video, him talking with somebody or something, and he just was not going to touch the Mandela effect. That was, and it really surprised me because he reads the Bible. But then again, when you're real close to something, you don't necessarily notice changes. There's too many changes in there with that I recall. But then again, it's just the King James version and a couple other versions, and there's probably a reason why that is. I don't have the education on the Bible. I was Catholic, so I didn't read that. I only read what they told me to read. But it was a while ago. But I was really impressed, that Rob actually. People's timelines are changing. I'm getting messages now about about to have a death in the family. And my cousin died about the time when I guess it would have been 16, 2016, early. And I swear he just walked in the bar the other day. I froze. I was like, kept staring at the guy, big smile on his face. Walks right up to the bar. His buddy said something. Oh, was the kitchen open? I'm like, I'm really sorry. We shut it down a while ago. It was a busy day, whatever. And he turned around and they left. And I'm just staring at the guy. I'm like, yeah, it was him. But he was about 3 inches shorter. But it looked exactly like him. And all I kept thinking was, wow, there's something here. There's some reason why I'm getting this, because it was him, except he was 3 inches shorter. If it really was him, then I'm sure he would have said hi. But that was kind of bizarre. I just froze. The other bartender was there and was talking with him for a second too, and I just froze. I kept staring at the guy, going, "Holy!" I wanted to go, "Yo, Frank." Didn't happen. What else I got? Denver moved a little. I look at the map. Today I was looking at something. I say Denver moved south. That's how you might recognize it. For me, the town I live in moved southwest. Yes, southwest. I knew all I had to do was go about 10 miles south, and I'd be dead center in the middle of, it might have been 15 miles south and 2 miles east. And I would have been dead center in Colorado. I was that close to the dead center of not just the mountains, the whole state. And now I don't have to go as far. I do have to go further west, but not as far south to get to, and it's a different town. I see on the map where it was, but that's not the name of the town that it was, because I looked for the dead center of Colorado. I'm like, I got to be pretty close to it. And I think it's just like a forest or in the middle of a mountain or something. It's not, there's nothing, you could probably actually go there, but you'd be hiking and camping. Like I said, totally needless video. Everyone will wake in their own time quantumly. Something I want to really get over in my book, because it's come up with me and I've talked about it. It's like Berenstain Bears showed up for me in 2012. These things have been around since the 60s. That's impossible. I would have read the books to my daughter back then. I would have read the books. Okay. I would have read the books to other family members as well. I remember in 2012 in Pittsburgh, just being in a bookstore and just staring. I went into one of those staring states. Those staring states, there's something to that. Because it's happened with the Jiffy and Skippy. It's happened when the impalement. It happened with the Berenstain Bear thing. It's happened at other times where I go into a staring fit. And all those 3 times I mentioned, I didn't realize that's what was happening until afterwards. really mad at the Jiffy and Skippy thing because this voice in my head, take a picture, take a picture, take a picture. Do I take a picture? What do I want to take a picture in a supermarket, a Jiffy and Jiffy for, when it's not a Mandela effect? All I'm thinking in my head at that time was, how come somebody isn't getting sued? I'm repeating myself again. Guy Fawkes was on one of his phone calls and mentioned cornflakes, Kellogg's cornflakes with the K on corn. I remember that. And that was another Mississippi trip for me. I was in Mississippi, but it could have happened at a different time, than Guy's, because he shifted, his consciousness shifted, and then mine did, or whenever it wants to, because it's malleable. It shifts, it changes. There's no time here. We're not in a rush. Somebody doesn't get awakened, they'll wake up when they're ready. They're going to wake up on their own time. The background, no, they're not back. Yeah, they are background people, in our lives, where they're dominant. They're here, but their dominant consciousness is off doing something else they need to do to experience, to grow. There's no time here. It doesn't matter what somebody believes and what they don't believe. It's about you and what you believe and how you interact with everybody else. Their own time. I know I got no time. I'd love to talk. Did I mention the Chick-fil-A with the capital A at the end? I just think that's a riot. What else? This was another video. I don't know if this was also that Jesse Spots and Rob Skiba video. Mary Poppins. This might have been recently. There were no flowers on her hat. There might have been one, but not the way they are. Spoonful of Sugar. Haven't listened to it yet. Dan Aykroyd. Yeah, I think there's an extra Y in his name. That was definitely from the Spot show. And I don't know where I got this. I don't know if it was the King James is black in this timeline. I didn't look. I didn't research any of that. It just sounded a little silly to me. Then again, a lot of this stuff is. Look at here. Mandela Effect is showing that we are multidimensional beings. We know we are being manipulated by the powers that shouldn't be. These are old notes. Keep the population down. If everyone knew they could just shift in and out of different situations, they would lose power and control. When I have a normal conversation, and I'm not talking about Mandela Effects every time. This isn't even just once in a while. Every time a Mandela Effect comes up. It's simply, be talking about something. Yeah, the band last night was really good. I'm glad they came in. It was fun. Yeah, somebody stepped on my Skechers, man. I just got them. And it's every time. It's like I'm always talking about the Mandela Effect. So when I'm not, I'm kind of conscious that I'm not talking about it. I think I talked about that before a couple of times recently. I've been asked, "Are you a flat earther?" When I mentioned the Mandela Effect. But the Mandela Effects, there's so many different categories that could be offshoots of Mandela Effects. And I tried this before and tried to name them. I don't expect them to catch on. I was just kind of messing around. But book title changes are different from logo changes, are different from songs when words change in the song, movie titles that change, people coming back from the dead, cars coming out of nowhere, starting accidents, and ghost cars, I think they call them. Items disappearing and then returning later. Words spelled differently are different from logos changing, are different from, people coming back from the dead. People's names are spelled differently. That's the same. And people changing. That's been going on a lot. I've talked to my family a lot. Well, recently, a couple of texts here and there. I just feel like, sometimes I feel like, let me call so-and-so randomly. I do not get a reply. I'm on the machine. But if I think about calling somebody for a while, they pick up the phone. Go what you wear. Go what you wear with that. Whatever that means. Cartoons are those not mentioned in my perception. And what I'm saying here. Side effect explanation. People experimenting in means not know. Shift occur. Yeah, this is just me repeating myself. Timeline for my book here. What else? Every page is full. What do I got? One of the reasons that I was just on Scott Harrison live thing, and somebody mentioned blue moons, and I thought, well, this is kind of important. We got a blue moon coming up. Today's what, 27th? Today is the 27th. The blue moon is on, so it's going to be 1, 2, 3, 4 days away. It's a big message here somewhere. I'm feeling it. I'm feeling it. First, let me start with a blue moon is the second full moon in a month. I thought a blue moon, like I remember the first time I think I heard the term blue moon was on Gilligan's Island. A ship would come by when the moon is blue. So on the 31st, we have a blue moon. January 1st, there was a blue moon. That was the new year. First day of the new year, we have a full moon. Now this one coming up, I believe they're calling it a super blood full moon. Super blood blue moon. I'm expecting a shift right around that. This feels very similar to October 2015 with the 3 blood moon things. I've seen somewhere, I haven't really studied it that much because I kind of stopped when I realized, hey, we have a blue moon in January. Every month there's a full moon, right? We have a blue moon in January, which means there's 2 full moons in January. Guess what? In February, there is no full moon this year. And we have another blue moon in March. So we're going to have March 1st and 31st, or 30, 30, I think that's what I saw. Another blue moon. I think that's significant. But with me, listen to this bullshit. I stopped all my bad habits. No. There's a series of things. Okay, I'm definitely not having any meat until way long after this full moon. A week at least. I need to. And it's funny because when I get away from it that long, I don't even like it. Pepperoni tastes like skin. Not that I know what skin tastes like, but I guess I do since I've eaten meat. But, no meat, no release of sexual energy, no alcohol. The smoke, I really got to cut it out. That's the cigarette smoke, the alcohol. Okay, the alcohol's affected me no matter what. But up here, it's not. Still got to go. The pot. I don't care if I'm using it medicinally. It's got to stop. Okay? The cigarettes. Barely smoke. When I want one, I want one. I barely smoke. Plus the organics, 100% pure tobacco, sun-dried, not sugar-dried, whatever. It doesn't matter. I'm still putting smoke in my body. I get it. But for me, it's not one of the triggers. That's not one of the things I know it's the weed, okay? I know alcohol is going to be probably for everybody. The weed would probably be for everybody. But me, the weed's something I've done. I've, used it medicinally, especially since I got to Colorado, which I did not expect for the most part. What else? Gossiping. Correct thinking. I mean, totally line up how you feel you should be. Because, you didn't have the experiences I had. I know what I got to do because of the experiences I've had. In your heart, In your heart, you know what you need to not do, what to do. Maybe you need to open up more. You know, maybe there's something you've been putting off or whatever, and you know you really want to go ahead and get it done, no matter how bad something seems. I'm telling you, it always works out for the better for you. Even sometimes you gotta hurt people. Sometimes that's just the way it is. But with these full moons, I'm completely on the track of not, you know, of cleansing, I guess it'll be. Everybody's going to be cleansing in their own way. So this is a little cleanse for me. So there was actually some interesting things I said here. I am interested in anybody else notice the capital A on Chick-fil-A. I saw that about a month ago, and I mentioned it to a few people. Nobody really said anything, but I have not put it on a video. There's a bunch of things I see every once in a while, and I'm like, oh, I gotta put that up. I gotta write that down, but I got notes all over the daggone place. I'm gonna have to be a little more organized, but it's tough. You know, I don't want to be involved with physical reality. I want to do this, especially now that there's been changes. I mean, there's, you know, no more chasing Mandela effects. Anybody out there that's saying, you know, well, this person's putting out a fake Mandela effect, they don't know that. They don't know if it's infinite. And you know what? From my perspective, it is, and we are multidimensional beings, and this is infinite, and it's quantum. And people are going to shift when they're going to shift. I think it was John Boyle, I think, just said, you know, he just shifted into the timeline where the Verizon symbol just changed, and he's saying, this is the way I've never seen it before, or whatever he explained it. I'm like, wow, I've noticed that for a while. I mean, that's, you know, but so that means nothing. You know, I shifted, he shifted at a different time. We're probably in that one timeline that's within, and there's all those parameters in there. It's different parameters. I mean, that's all it is. It's quantum. Berenstein Bears didn't show up for me since they only showed up in 2012 for me. These things have been around since the 60s. I mean, you know, I was in another timeline with different parameters. To me, it's that simple. So no one has the right to say this person's making up Mandela effects. If you're saying that and you truly believe that, then I don't believe you understand the Mandela effect, or shifting timelines, or the word infinite, or the word multidimensional. But then again, that might not be. I mean, you know, that, okay, yeah, it's a theory, and that theory, it comes from experience for me. So, you know, it's my truth, and I'm aware that truth changes. So it doesn't matter. I can say, yes, my consciousness shifted into a timeline. Where this, what did the guy say? I said the other. He said it was Baron Steam, the Berenstain Bears, STEAM. He was absolutely sure of it, 100%. I thought it could have been a cultural thing, but I'm not going to call this guy a liar and a charlatan and start fighting with him because, you know, he resided on a timeline with different parameters than mine. No, I don't think so. You really got to stay within yourself with this whole thing. To me, I'm like, I'm beyond chasing Mandela effects. When I see them, if I see something, I'll mention it. I'll bring it up. Talk to people about it, like this Chick-fil-A, capital A on the end. But I'm not. It just showed me that we shifted. At least, to me, if it's a big change, it's probably a mass shift. If it's a small change, it may have been a personal shift. Or you know, you just changed your parameters. All right. I've said enough of nothing. Appreciate you guys listening. Thanks for liking. I don't care. I will never monetize my videos. I want people to take them and learn and grow from them. If they can, take what you can. Hopefully it'll help you. I see it. Done. Okay, yeah. One of the other parts of that formula was not to talk about it, to be silent. I don't know if I brought that up. 100%, 100% Mandela Effects for me. JFK, Jiffy, Sex and the City, Pepsi, Interview with a Vampire, Men's Warehouse, Eddie's Ice Cream. I don't know what this is. Romans 16:24. I don't even know why I would write that. Dimensional beings, God, CERN, D-Wave, time travel, confabulation, pre-programmed memory, experiencing past via future. I guess they were all theories of what could be going on. I don't know. Don't. T.S. Eliot. I don't remember writing this. Only those who will risk going too far can possibly find out how far one can go. I could see why I'd write that. How to shift. Ooh. I know I was all over the place with this one. Sorry. I hope you guys enjoyed it. I know I really don't feel like I said much. There were a couple bits in there that I could have probably done a 3-minute video. Didn't even realize I was sitting here babbling here. I always think about doing these things live but it would only be a few minutes, and what I need to do is try and figure out. I got to find an editing program because I'll have these epiphanies or these ideas, and I don't get them down. I don't. They'll come back to me here and there, and if I can, I write them down. But this one stuck with me for the last few days. This whole thing is quantum. At least that's the route I'm taking. It may not be, but to me, it almost has to be. And about the other people that are around us, the people that we don't associate with like we used to, the people in our families that deny it, even if they see it. If they see the Mandela Effects and think we're crazy. We can go back to where I was talking about how your dominant consciousness, where you reside and with your thinking, when you get down to it, you're the only one in that dimension, we'll call it. But we interact with other people in our timeline. I use the straw analogy where you got a bunch of straws in here, and this is one timeline within parameters, and there's infinite timelines inside within these parameters. And now we have the same thing over here where we see the Mandela Effects, and we're shifting consciously, and we know it, or at least we think it, we feel it. It's one of the theories out there. Since it's quantum, when I was in Mississippi and I exposed the girl to Sex and the City, and she kept saying, yes, it's Sex and the City, and found out right there, it was like the day before she saw Sex and the City. That morning, she saw Sex and the City. Well, when I exposed her to it and she saw Sex and the City, she shifted. Right then and there, she shifted into the timeline that I'm interacting with, that it's always been Sex and the City. What she did after that, was up to her. Did she stay there? Or did she shift back to Sex and the City? Did she shift to stay in Sex and the City but go on believing she misremembered? She did it then. I did it 2 years prior. Time doesn't exist here. When people are exposed to it, they shift. I don't feel like, she picked up Sex and the City. I think the day before it was Sex in the City for her. I don't think it's always been Sex and the City when there was a specific time that it shifted. I think these things shift at different times for people. When you're exposed to it, that's when it shifts. That's when you see the shift. I've seen things shift right before my eyes. I've heard other people say the same thing. Everybody's shifting in their own time. And what I'm getting at is, since it's quantum, there is no time. It doesn't matter when somebody finishes the race. It doesn't matter when somebody figures out that they can shift their consciousness into any experience they want. They don't have to go by any guidelines, any. Whatever your beliefs are, whatever your truths are, you can change them. I don't care what they are. I'm not going there, but I'm telling you, it doesn't have to be anything you've been taught. You can simply shift your consciousness into a timeline where things are the way they are that you want to experience them. That's for us, and I'm going to actually call us the 144,000 they speak of in the Bible. It just makes sense to me. I mean, there's other things that go along with that, so maybe not. But I don't think there's that many of us in this timeline. Okay, I think all these other people are off in another timeline where they are still experiencing three-dimensional reality, still experiencing reincarnation, and they just keep doing it. Do they revert back to a time of the Dark Ages when life just began? Probably. I remember reading sometime in the 80s, 90s that, there's going to come a time, probably 2012, where you're either going to move on and evolve. I think it was ascend at the time, or revert back to an Earth and start all over again, depending on what your beliefs were, where you were following. Are you totally wrapped up in 3D physical reality and the programming that's been given to you? Or were they wrapped up so much into go home, work, pay the government, do what I'm told, all into authority, having no mind of their own, just doing what they want? Well, they're going to have to revert back. Guess what? It doesn't matter if that's the case, if that's what happened. It doesn't matter. That's where they were. There is no time. It doesn't matter when people want to be woken. They've already probably decided that, yes, I want to be awoken now, or no, I want to experience some more 3D physical reality. I think, it's like every time I expose this to someone, I'm starting to come into a lot of, I want to say, computer programs, because these people are off in another timeline with different parameters somewhere, but I am still interacting with them because, I don't know, we have to. It's an aspect of this person that's not where her dominant consciousness is, but she totally blew me off. Shocked the heck out of her with the JFK thing, but totally blew me off. But that's what I want to get to, is reminding me of other stories in the bar, and I want to get to them too. But, what I'm getting to is the people in our lives that think we're crazy and don't interact with the Mandela Effect, don't see them. I don't think their dominant consciousness is here anyway. They are here for us to interact with in whatever way. They're going to wake up in their own time. They're going to wake up when they need to wake up. I don't think their dominant consciousness is anywhere near ours. Okay? I think we're becoming more aware of shifting consciousnesses. I mean, I keep saying if that's what it is, that's what it is for me. That's my truth. That's my beliefs. And apparently I could change that. But I tend to shift my consciousness constantly recently. If I see something I'm not feeling right, I just say, okay, well, is that a problem? Is it a problem with me? All this gets wiped away right away. And I'm going, no, you know what? Let's just, I'm going to exist in a timeline where, and it's all words that really mean nothing and can be interchanged with other ones, but I'm going to exist in a timeline where this person is not fighting with me at the bar. 1 second he's all angry, and the next second he's like, hey, let's, and it seems to work. Seems to work for me easier and easier with things that don't have to be instant. The surrendering part of learning how to shift to what you more desire I look back on it, and that's when I learn. Because while it's going on, you can't, because you can't really think about it. You already have to know it and let it go. I want to come up with an example on that, but the surrender thing eludes me, and things happen properly when I seriously surrender. And I know what I mean. I guess I just can't articulate it properly. I go back and look, and I'm, well, that's why that happened, because I finally surrendered to it, instead of dwelling on it. One of the stories at the bar I want to get. See, I wanted to keep every topic straight instead of just constantly going all over the place. So I think the big message here was, it's not linear for us. Time doesn't really exist for us. The people who see the Mandela Effects and know that there was an E here, and that the whole symbol used to be slanted. The people who see these things and know that, look, that's not the way it was. Now, whether you believe that it's changing, whether you believe that it changed and you didn't, which I don't feel. I feel that you're the one that's changing constantly with Mandela Effects. Every time you see one, it may have changed in the 1960s for some people. And now you're finally seeing the change right now. You don't know when it changed, because it changed that day for you. It's like when the JFK thing came up. It was, I'm going to say 17. No, it was 16, right? May of 16. When did that change? I mean, I saw it in the 80s. There was 4 people, and it could have changed any time. The day that I was exposed to it is the day it changed for me. It's when you're exposed to it. It's quantum. People are going to be affected when they're going to be affected. So does it really matter if I expose it to them? I think, yeah, maybe, sure. They probably wanted to be exposed on some level, because at some point on that timeline, it's going to hit them. Even if you're talking to them down here and they're, out skiing over here, they're going to pick it up on some wavelength. Which kind of segues into this. There's a guy comes sit down at the bar, and I go over to him, hey, what can I get you? And he's just staring at my shirt. I got the Monopoly Guys Mandela Effect, right? He's just staring at the shirt. He goes, Jesus. And I knew he was looking at the shirt, so I figured he was going to bring it up. Let me just back up a little bit. I said, yeah, these are my beers, both sides, nothing on tap. And he says, go ahead, get me whatever he says I forget, and he got a shot. I set him up, and he's still staring at my shirt. And I said, so do you know what this is? He says, yeah, I've been trying to get away from it for a year, maybe longer. He goes, I've seen the stuff. I've seen these 2 things change, like the Berenstein Bear thing. I knew that changed before it got online. He goes, but I ignored it. There was no way that happened. I kept thinking, geez, there's no way. I know it was an EIN. I know it was an EIN. And he was telling me reasons why he knows it was EIN. And I'm like, wow, yeah, you would know it's EIN. And I tried to break the film out. I did, as a matter of fact. I don't think I might have got some of the Berenstein Bear conversation. Don't know if I get an editing machine, I'm going to have so many back tapes on people, so many conversations I should have filmed, and it was amazing. But he's like, yeah, I ran away from that right away, because I saw it. I finally cleared my head where, yeah, I misremembered, and now everybody else is saying it changed. And he was getting upset, angry, upset, not upset, but angry. Conversations going on. We're just chatting away. I break out the camera because somebody said something about suicide, killing yourself, different dimensions, different timelines, the Schrodinger effect and all this. They're bringing that stuff up. So I break out the camera for all this. I'm just kind of talking randomly. I hope I do get this up, because you got to see, when I start telling them about the Mississippi experience I had, seeing Jiffy and Skippy on the shelf at the same time, and going home and seeing on MandelaEffect.com, which you could probably go to those threads and find this conversation. 15 threads. If you go to MandelaEffect.com and then go to the memory threads, and great read. Great read for me, because I was exposed already, had a few of the major experiences with the stars, the orbs, and And now I'm reading these threads on all these Mandela effects that these people are coming up with, and other subjects are coming up. And Fiona Broom, or the operator of the site, and coined Mandela effect. Although I know Mandela effects were happening before the phrase was coined, and whatever they were calling it, I don't think they were. People just weren't open enough to come out with, hey, McDonald's just changes a McDonald's. For me, that was 79. And I just thought they modernized the sign back. So the memory threads is a great read. Anyway, I got on there. Jiffy and Skippy, they're telling me Jiffy doesn't exist. I said, no, I was at the supermarket. I just saw them on the shelf. I sat there looking at it, staring at it, went into one of my staring phases. And I kept reaching for my camera, but would not take a picture because I kept thinking, why isn't somebody getting sued? My whole life, Jiffy, and Skippy have been around. Most of the time I took Jiffy. Tastes like cardboard, tastes like crap. It was the cheapest one. I never dawned on me. I'm like, why isn't somebody getting sued? And I was like, somebody should be suing Jiffy because it looks to me like they took Skippy and Jif and put it together and made a peanut butter. But, apparently that's not the case for a lot of people. A lot of people, it's always been spelled Jiff. And some other people say, yeah, Jif used the term Jiffy. And other people are saying, no, Jif didn't exist. It was always Jiffy. Now it's Jif. And now for me, and this is for me, all three were on the shelf at the same time. That doesn't mean one of them wasn't phasing and shifting at the time I saw it. But I do recall Jiffy, and Skippy on the shelf at the same time. How zeroed in was I as a kid looking for peanut butter? Not really. I wasn't doing my shopping. My mother was. When I got older, it was the pizza steak, the cheesesteak, and the hoagies and pizzas around the corner. I wasn't out shopping all the time either. But I do recall, have vivid memories of picking up Jiffy and having to choose between those three. Peter Pan was also in that. I don't think I've ever bought Peter Pan peanut butter. Wow, how did I get off on this? I remember. So the guy's sitting there and I'm talking about the Jiffy, and Skippy. And he's just, what? I said, well, Jiffy never existed. He goes, no, and he goes off. You'll see it on a film I have somewhere, I'm sure. You'll see it sometime. I should just put it up. It's a 3-minute video. He's going, what are you talking about? They had banana Jiffy. I am 100% sure it was banana-flavored peanut butter. It was banana and peanuts. It was called Banana Jiffy, or Jiffy Banana. And it was banana-flavored peanut butter. I never heard of that. But you could see the look on the guy's face when he's describing and talking about it. And I really think hope I got that much on film. I really don't know. I think I must, because I have his original look when he's looking at me like, what do you mean Jiffy doesn't exist? Sure it does. But yeah, he was very distinctive, but he's telling me, yeah. And then we started getting into death as a catalyst. And I said, well, do me a favor, don't try and kill yourself because you can. And he looks me right over at me. He goes, there is something that won't allow it. Like what? He goes, the computer program or some kind of program will not let you kill yourself. I'm like, what? He goes, I've tried. I was like, oh my God. I said, well, you probably succeeded on multiple timelines. Your consciousness shifted into a timeline where you didn't succeed. And the family members and people that where on the timelines that you did succeed are going to be very, very distant from you. And he's just looking at me like, what? Yeah, it was very interesting. It was interesting because he's staring at my shirt and wanted to get away from it for the longest time. And he says, I'm just randomly coming through this town. I ain't never been around here. I walk into this random bar that looks kind of cool, and I'm running into what I'm trying to run away from. I said, well, take that as a sign. there was quite a few good conversations. Some of them were just I back off right away. Oh, excuse me, I got to get some because they start with the. I have a good question, and I asked this on one of the live streams or whatever, right? Somewhere. Why is it that almost every time I bring up a Mandela effect and start talking about it, people ask me if I'm a flat earther? I don't like being associated with that. I don't care. I don't know what it is. I know it's not what they're telling us. You know, I used to say, I know it's not a ball spinning and flying through space. Yeah, I really lean towards that because of the experiences that I've had. But I still don't know. I'm also under the impression it could still be some sort of ball or maybe half ball or something, but it's tons bigger than they're telling us. It could be an infinite plane. You know, I mean, it could be anything. We don't know. You know, I don't think it's flat. This thing came out of nowhere. There's an agenda there. I think maybe possibly, I don't know. They're so determined that it's flat. That bothers me because nobody knows, man. Just nobody knows, and we're not going to know. And the only thing that we really should be zeroed in on is what is in our perception, what is around us. Now, the computer gives us a larger perception if we want it. But this is one of the things I said we should not be focusing on. We should be focusing on our lives and what we want, what we desire, not what other programs want us to experience, not what other programs want us to desire and to dumb down our feelings so we can't create properly. So we end up creating and reverting back to the 3D world where they have control again, and that's all they want. They just want to keep their thing going, and infinitely, I'm sure it's going to. But it's your choice. And I think a lot of the people that are distant from us chose to, not move on yet because it's quantum, it's infinite. Everybody will, and everybody will in their own time. It's a story I've been wanting to get out. Also, as far as death being a catalyst, back in late 90s, I had a dream that my brother passed. My brother died. In my dream, I decided no, and I rewound the dream. It actually happened. I don't remember a lot of my dreams at all, and this was so powerfully real. It was strange. It was me, Steve, and my brother died. I don't know how. It was a fall of some sort. And I rewound it and changed the situation and came out of it. Now, after all of my experiences the last few years, I've come to the idea that back in the 90s when I had that experience, I had that dream, my brother may have died on many timelines because it was at that point where he became distant from me. We're still close, but distant. I say we're still close. I just got in an argument with the guy over nothing through a text. I don't need that. It's the first time I've talked to him in 4 months, if you want to call that talking. Back then, when that happened, after that happened, it was like I just didn't talk to him as much. He changed jobs. He moved to New York. Had another child. It was like a lot of changes for him from my perspective. So for him, for my family, for a lot of people in my family, he probably passed. Now, with that dream, what did I do? I chose to change that and exist in a timeline where he did not pass. I think that happened. And now I'm here, and it's like, yeah, we really don't talk that much. And, he's where he is, and I'm where I am. And I've tried bringing this stuff up to him. Oh, no. He'll straight out tell me, just join the Illuminati, man. What is your problem? Why not just go with it? Who cares? So But that I find that interesting because I really think, that happened he died and I kept him alive. And from my perspective, for whatever reason, almost a reason not needed, since I don't interact with him a lot. But yeah, it would have changed me. So maybe that was acceptable, or maybe I just consciously did what I was supposed to do to shift myself into that timeline. I mean, this happened in a dream state. Quite amazing. I got notes around here I could probably bring up. Oh, did that. A lot of people see the Mandela Effects as a conspiracy. Well, this goes along with that other thing. The people that do see it as a conspiracy, their dominant consciousness is often a timeline, experiencing 3D reality, reincarnating, and the whole bit. We don't reincarnate. We just shift into another timeline until we were probably ready to actually leave this realm. When we've figured, learned everything we think we needed to learn, and we probably choose on our own. We probably choose when we want to go. And a lot of these are going, oh yeah, well, I want out now. You really don't, because you're not. You got to line it up with your heart, man. Because if you're into this and you're seeing the Mandela Effects, you don't want to just get out. No. What do they say? It's not the destination. It's the travels. You really don't. Because I really don't. I don't think I think there are traps within this, but I don't think we're in a trap. But I think there are traps within it. You come along, you find something that you enjoy, and you get sucked into it, and you get trapped, and then you move on from that, and But I think I said everything I needed to say right now. I'm going to kick myself when I stop this and start it over, because there's so much been going on with me and with what I've been wanting to do and say, and a lot of times I want to get down to a video and I just jump on my book and keep editing it. I swear I was done 8,000 words ago. And now I'm looking into publishing it myself. Anybody has any information on that, that'd be great, because I'm looking at it and I'm like, all right, I'm going to have to sit down and read this a few times and figure out exactly what I got to do. Because the one publisher was not affected, blew me off as a joke, told her I'd call her back. The next one, I did expose her to the Mandela Effects, and a week or two later, she quit. I really want to. I just want to publish it and edit it myself. I know what I'm doing. I can do it. It doesn't have to be absolutely perfect. Although one of these books that I got done reading, I believe it. Yeah, this one, I do like it. And I'm not done, but he spelled Mandela 4 different ways in this book. I stopped because it was constantly reading over passages from the Bible that I'm just not familiar with. I mean, obviously, there's probably words I'm like, I am an alien in their sight, or I don't know what words here are different, but obviously some of the stuff's obvious. Like, there's no way that word would be in the Bible. It's impossible. Well, it's not impossible. They could have changed it. I also noticed about the Bible changes, it's the King James Bible. I got this Catholic Bible over here, New American Version. I couldn't find any changes in it that people were saying. I'm sure there's some in here. I keep picking out their passages and looking for changes, and I don't see it. Hey, one of those, I'm on John, one of those talk shows, probably Mandela Monday, we're talking about, hey, what's your favorite chapter in a book? It might not, I shouldn't say that. I've been watching a few different shows and not commenting and stuff. What's your favorite chapter? What's your favorite book? And people just started talking about Bible chapters, and I thought, man, I didn't say. Somebody else said a different book. I don't know if they meant Bible chapters or not. I think I'm going to read through John. I think a lot of our answers are in that. It's just something that came to me a while ago. So, I guess that's all. I don't think. Oh, you know what else I want to ask people? If you've actually stayed with me this long, next door they are doing a trivia night, March 1st. I gave me that date if I want to do trivia that night. Probably take an hour or two. Luke will do the emceeing, and I'll be filming it. And he's going to explain the Mandela Effect right up front. This, I don't know how he's going to word it. People think people are misremembering. Some people think we're shifting into different timelines. Some people think we're in a computer program. But we're going to ask you a series of questions where there may be more than one answer, and whatever. So he's going to explain it to them. I'll talk to him about that. But what I need is 45 questions based on the Mandela Effect and 5 things you can draw. An example. The 45 questions, I'm going through all this going, well, I don't know how I'm going to word that, because what I was going to do is 10 spelling quizzes, 10 product questions, 10 movie, maybe pop questions, maybe 10 geography questions, but I don't even know how to word those. So I don't know where I'm going with this, but I also need 5 drawings. Now, I was wondering, should I do something like draw Curious George? See how many people draw a tail. Draw the Ford symbol, because I don't know how I would question that. Draw the Ford F. But what I'm looking for your help with is, if you wouldn't mind commenting down below a series of questions, how you would word them for a trivia night. And I'm going to film this thing and post it. So, by the way, the whole topic that I got on, it being quantum, and how much should we really try and wake people up? I don't think it matters one way or the other. I think they're going to wake up when they want. I think if you did say something to them and they're starting to wake up, I think then that's what was supposed to happen. I think what we really seriously can shift. I don't think we have to wait for anything. I don't think we can do it now. I think things are going to be pushed on us more until we figure things out, to learn, to grow. All right, good enough. 31 minutes. I hope I said something meaningful. I hope I had a little more content than that poppy chick. Guys, I really want to get on like the Saturday night show and the Monday night show. I'm off Tuesdays and Fridays, if you can even call it off, because I'm always running around, I always on call, whatever. Because if somebody don't show up, I got to be there. It was funny because one time I took time off and Photo Helix is like, oh, he gave his. I said, yeah, they gave me off this day. They gave himself off. I'm like, well, yeah, kind of, but not really. Anyway, guys, so much I want to say. I'll just save it for the next video if I get on soon or do it again later. I'm having computer problems, as you could probably tell by the quality of this video. This is Photo Helix's fault. Okay? I'm all hit now. Like this. Everybody I ask says Smokey the Bear. And, people are like, oh, so, you give out your address and they know where you live. I'm like, dude, whatever. Ain't hurting nobody. But there's like 3 Mandela hats like this popped up. And I was like, well, I guess I got to buy them. Like, I would have Smokey the Bear hat and a Ford hat and a Mountain Dew hat all be put on the same rack. I'm just like, well, okay. I plan on doing live. Wow, really? I plan on doing live. What do you call it? Podcasts I'm just going to get on here, but it's going to be like 2 in the morning on a Tuesday morning or Wednesday morning at like 2 a.m., midnight Eastern time, just to get, something for people to do that can't sleep, get up, chat with like-minded people. I'm going to be doing that soon because this is going to get a little deeper, I think, and I think it's about time that it happens. It's not going to be long. I mean, I hope everyone, well, I hope everyone has had fun chasing Mandela effects and chatting about it. I think that the people that have seen it, the people that have experienced the Mandela effect, are going to have to uh, calm and relax the people who are feel fearful, and because they're going to be starting to see Mandela effects, in my opinion, and they're not going to know where to turn. They'll probably turn. Maybe somebody will get lucky and turn to YouTube and get all the information that's been going down the last few years. But it's going to be people we know probably, and we might not see the changes. So that starts happening. We can't diss these people. We have to direct them in the right direction, let them choose for themselves, direct them so that they can, say, hey, look, here's top 5 theories, and I don't agree with these 3, but you know what? You look at them and see what you think. Uh, I can't wait to get the other glasses back. This is not going to last. This is, I don't know. Whew. Samagoo. Um, where was I? Does this computer have pause? So what I think might be going on, or what might happen, and believe me, I have like 3 or 4 different things in my head that might be going on, but this one kind of hit me because I've just had a personal Mandela effect. And it bothers me because I've said what it was on videos, I've said what it was on the Mandela Effects site, and I even wrote about it in my book. And when I was going through my book, I decided I want a little more detail on this. And I said, you know what I'm saying? It's like November-ish in 2015, and I'm like, I think it was earlier than that. You know what? Let me see what the date was. So I go back through the research and I find out what the date was, and the stuff that I recall watching didn't happen. Okay, it did happen, but it happened another way, which totally turns around and makes it look like I just forgot. And no, that's not the case at all. There's a couple other circumstances that I'm still looking into, thinking, okay, if this or this, then yeah, maybe I did make that mistake, but I don't think so. And I think those who have seen the Mandela effects are going to be catching a lot of personal Mandela effects about their past. And I think the point is, it doesn't matter. We've changed our past by shifting. If we're shifting, the past is changing. We're shifting into another timeline where the parameters are different, so things are going to be different in the past just as much as right now, where we see a shift, we see a change. Um, but I think we're going to have to go out of our way to help people who are totally confused about what's going on and don't understand it. And I don't know how safe it'll be to say, yes, this is what it is, or this is what it isn't. I know I have um, my beliefs, feelings, which will change, but because of experience, I do feel we're experiencing multiple timelines, or multiple dimensions is the word I probably should be using. And inside each of those dimensions are infinite timelines with different parameters. This is going to go on forever. um, but we're going to have to, this is one of my theories, and I have a handful of them. we're going to be trying to help them and dealing with something else that's going on that we don't understand. And I was thinking it was probably going to be personal Mandela effects, because how do you deal with that? That's not like I can get on and go, yo, Jiffy changed. Yeah, Jiffy changed. Woo, we both know Jiffy changed. Um, oh my God, I can't even think of a Mandela effect. All I got to do is turn around, right? Curious George doesn't have a tail. And 10,000 people agreed. Man, he didn't have a tail. 5,000 are saying, yeah, he had a tail. Okay, let's come up with theories. Ooh, we got 10,000 people scratching their heads going, hey, what's going on? Now, when you have some serious, wow, I'm thinking about this I've had conversations with my family, and they're going, I don't remember that. I don't remember that. That didn't happen. Something always happened a different way. I think that's what's going to happen. And it's going to be harder for us it's going to be a larger lesson, something else to learn. I don't know what. If this is the case, this would be us dealing with some other Mandela effect type phenomenon and trying to calm down your roommate because he just noticed, you know, oh my God, the sky's blue. It's always been green. Uh, it's been probably 3, maybe more weeks since I actually got on and did a video, and I got notes all over the place, but I've changed stuff around, so I don't know what it was. My original idea was to sit behind the bar, put a camera up on that pole. It's getting too produced. I'm doing this for me mainly, and maybe I'll reach some people and help some people, and that's the other thing. It's because I haven't been doing it that long. I've been really wanting to, especially now. We got another blue moon coming up. No moons in February, and a blue moon, 2 moons. We got March 1st and 31st. And I've been talking to some people about downstairs. I've been checking attitudes. Everybody's in a bad mood now, today. And I felt it, but I laid down, meditated, and fought it off and said it's my choice to have a good day. Not a good day. But I've seen this pattern, and coincidence what? I don't know. These full moons, these special full moons, always seem to bring with them some crap. And I don't know that it's the full moons. It's just the timing. And so we got these 2 full moons coming up in March. Now, the pattern I saw in January was New Year's was a little wonky, but that there was the full moon, and it was some special full moon. Everybody probably blew off the wonkiness to the holidays. But the one on the 31st, that was, I could feel the tension. The week before, I got all paranoid. I felt awful. I was picking up a lot of people's emotions. I was picking up a lot of other people's stuff, and it wasn't any easier. I mean, I didn't know. I mean, it didn't hit me that that's what was going on. Now I'm aware of it. So, we'll see how that goes. But, it's like the last week just ended a week and a half. Man, everything's been great. You wake up in the morning and it's good morning, kittens, and, feed them and get ready for work. Because the whole time, all day long today, woke up, felt it, meditated, get up, did some work, come back upstairs, I get an hour and a half sleep. I got up, did some work on my book, played with the cats, got another hour and a half sleep. I'm sleeping because I want to be refreshed for work tonight. When I get down there to punch in, they're like, dude, it's Friday, you're off. I never asked to be off Friday, but I'm okay with that. So now I get to do this. And I'm going to be doing this stuff live. I'm going to be doing this stuff live next week. Let's check the date. Next week. It'll be a week before the full moon. Probably do it Thursday morning. See, it's hard to say. Tuesday morning, maybe. I mean, Wednesday morning. Wednesday or Thursday morning, 21st or 22nd. I'm going to 12 o'clock Eastern. I'm going to come up here and chat. And if I got anything to talk about, I'll talk about it. I eventually, I'm doing a little earlier than I wanted to have other things done before I was going to do this, but the timing's right. I think a lot of us are going to have trouble sleeping again because I've been sleeping like a rock, and then not, and then it'll be one day a week where I'll just I actually get 8 hours, but all I need is 5. I'm getting 4. And then those naps, those hour-and-a-half naps every 3 hours or whatever. I mean, I'm not doing myself any favors, but I'm trying to be rested up. So I get out of work so late, I'm up. Did I get to bed at 4 maybe? 4 in the morning, 2 a.m. Eastern. Hey, you. Checking out the new scene? Absolutely no content here. I'm quite sure I won't send this out. No reason. I mean, there's things I really want to say. There's, I think it's important for me to get the message out that the whole chasing Mandela effects, I do it too. I mean, I'm buying the products for crying out loud. No, somebody wrote, oh, he's getting all the kickbacks for all the items he's buying. Kickbacks. I know. I don't need money to do this. Physical reality is different than we've been told. We've been lied to. Now I have to make a buck on it. I'm out to help people get through it, no matter what it is. No matter what it is. I mean, because I've been, while I was writing the book, I realized it's not like I just came out here going, hey, we're shifting timelines. This is great. Let's do this. No. All of 2015, I mean, I was just in my head trying to figure out what the heck is going on. I would have a Mandela effect, and I would still blow it off, even though I wanted to be affected. I mean, I was like, I kind of want to, I want to see one of these changes so I understand what these people are going through. And it was a Sex and the City interview with a vampire, Jesse Spots' video. And, I never looked back after that. But there was, I would still get some, and I'm like, wow, I don't remember that. But I didn't want to say I didn't remember it. I just kind of let it go. Well, now now that I understand more about it, and I was scared. I mean, I was scared. I don't know. I was definitely freaked out, and I would get worried. But I would explore it, investigate it more, and I got lucky finding the Mandela Effects site.com in August, late August. I found that site, so I got lucky. Other people were going through this stuff too. The YouTube videos weren't telling me people were going through this. They were just naming a bunch of stuff. Mandela Effects. Okay. Where do we go from here? That was my question. Where do we go from here? Physical reality is not what we've been told. Let's run around and chase and find all the changes. That's what we should do. I'm being sarcastic. I do think there's messages in there. I think we really got to get together. Somebody's got to get together and have like a little roundtable discussion about, okay, look, X amount of products have shown this trait. What does that mean? X amount of songs are changing the words from this to this. What would that mean? Somebody said now or later's changed to now and later's. I've always known them as now and later. But that's absolutely fine. I'm absolutely sure other people remember now or later. Now or later candies. I'm sure it's out there. Now, why did it change for them? Because it's showing them. Now, I'm just saying, as an example of something. You know what? You could do this now, or you can do it later. because you're either going to shift into a higher vibration along with Mother Earth, a part of Mother Earth, I imagine. I don't know, because there's supposedly another Earth going the other way. And infinite timelines in that direction, and infinite timelines in that direction. Who cares? Whatever. We kind of got to focus on the dominant consciousness where it's at in one timeline at a time. Doesn't matter, For me, I have to know all that stuff. I have to figure all that stuff out so I understand what's going on. It's the analytical part of me, I guess. That's the right way. When I was learning how to deal craps, I understood 4 and 10. I know why it paid 2 to 1. Or 9 to 5. I understood that. 9 to 5. I get that. But 5 and 9, why do they be paid? Why is that 7 to 5? I needed that broken down for me. You can roll the 5 a number of times. You can roll the 7 a number of times. That's why it's 7 to 5. Oh, I get it now. So that's why I'm paying. Okay, so 10 gets 14. You got it. The only way I was going to figure out 10 gets 14 is to go through all that. And that's, basically what I probably did with, me breaking it down, saying, I believe we're experiencing multiple timelines, multiple dimensions. That's what I want to say. I believe we are experiencing multiple dimensions. But then we say, but there's timelines in that dimension that are infinite and within their parameters, and this dimension over here within that parameters. Well, that stuff's really good to know. It's good to have the info if it's true. Let me always throw that in there. But it's not necessary, because we need to focus where we're at now and experience the now, because we're going to, like I said, one of the theories I have is people that are already mainly into the Mandela Effect are going to be noticing a lot of personal Mandela Effect changes, where you're not going to be able to run online and talk to your friend about it, because I just think all of us are going to have patience with each other, because you're not going to want to hear my story that well, maybe we will, because we get it, but we're going to be all running around telling everybody our own personal stories, and we're not going to be able to collaborate it with anybody. And how many times are we going to go, oh, that sounds like bullshit? Can't do it. We're going to have to focus within. We're going to have to focus on the inside. All right, good enough. I'm going to let this go now. I might actually post it. Why not? So much more I want to say. But I'm not digging for those notes. Although I only have about 35 questions for the trivia night next door, which is going to be the second week in March now, which will be right in the middle of our blood moons. I have about 35 questions. It's just, I'm like, wow, how do I word this one? I'm not affected by that Mandela effect. How do I do this, all right. Have a great night. See you in a week. Hopefully. Yeah, you will. I'm sitting here thinking about emotions and what they do, and the up and down on the whole before a football game. You'll watch some sick child, and then you're watching this game. The emotions are all over the place. And I'm sitting here thinking about it, and I'm thinking, I need to do like a video on that. And the phone rings. And it's a number I don't recognize, but it looks kind of local. So I go, all right, I pick it up. And it's this real sweet, nice voice chit-chatting away about how she works for some resort, and, they're giving away this stuff and everything. And I'm sitting there thinking, well, it is her job. And a couple of times I just sit there, put the phone down, let them talk. Figuring that's what they do. I'm assuming they make money for that, right? Because I was tired of just getting the call and hanging up. So this time, and I've always done that. And then there's one time,
probably the last time, I just let them talk. And then after a while, I realized, I don't have the time to do that. Well, this call comes in, and I'm just like, I said, no, and I'm sorry, I'm not interested. And she kept going. She just kept, and I was like, I said, all right, I'll put the phone down. And then I hear, so is it okay if I, da, 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 da? And I said, no, thank you. And I hung up. I was upset. I wasn't upset. I felt bad. I felt bad for hanging up on this person. I'm like, yeah, no matter where you turn, it's like you have to be in control of your emotions. You need to, I don't know, you need to be careful. And that brings me to when I experienced the star, right before I experienced the stars coming at me and that whole thing. My emotions were off the chart as far as I had some sort of epiphany that, all of a sudden I wasn't sure if we lived on a flying sphere. I it was like I knew, I felt like it couldn't be proven, and I was sure of it. But I was also sure that you couldn't prove to me it was flat or a realm or concave, I think is one of the things I glanced at back then. Um, you can't really straight out prove any of it to me. So anyway, that was the emotion I had. It was like, wow, the whole globe thing. It hit me, and I realized there's something more to that. It's not going to end there. So I got very, very excited. And then I experienced the star situation. It was like in succession. I'd say it was the accident, and then a few weeks later, was it a few weeks later? It may have been a month later, was the orbs, and 2 or 3 weeks after that was the stars. And the Mandela Effects just really popped me in August. I was affected, but I was blowing them off. Or I was seriously convincing myself that I wasn't sure until I came across, after that, the star experience, all of August, that's all I did. I was just Mandela affecting out. And along that time, I just wanted a normal life again. Was it then? No, hold on. It was before then. It was in July where I put the ball down, or went back to the ball is what I did. I just started going to work normal, and everything was peachy keen. But I actually consciously walked around thinking, hey, we live on a globe, which I've never done before. That that just seems silly in itself right there. But after about a week, maybe two, I was just so depressed. July 2015. Just walking around depressed, and I didn't know why. I jumped on YouTube and I came across a flat Earth video, and boom, right back into it. Couldn't believe that I went back. I felt great again. These things are fantastic. That's when things really started to move. But in August, it was all just Mandela effects and picking one up. And if I wasn't sure, I said I wasn't sure, but that it looked different. That was always a thing I would say. And that was just to myself. I had nobody to talk to. I had nowhere to go. It was going on YouTube, but for Mandela effects, still maybe 10, 20 videos at this point, maybe. September 2015. That's when I discovered MandelaEffect.com. Started interacting with those people. But it was the emotions that I had during those experiences or right before the experiences that I think helped triggered them. Because when I go out to create now and I say, all right, what do I want? That's the first thing. What do I really want? You know, and I'm really breaking it down now because now it's just a thought and I kind of let it all just go. And I know right away if it's going to work or not. But first, you really need to know what you want, because for years, I thought I knew what I wanted. And even if I was creating properly, it wasn't going to happen the way I wanted it, because it's not really what I wanted. I did not line my desires up with my heart. But this phone call just threw me for a loop because my emotions sunk so low. And I'm like, wait a minute, I've been in a great mood. I do not need that. I don't want that. Why? Why did that all happen? You know, and I don't want to say be cold. You know, if somebody needs help and you can help them, help them. Don't let the emotions get involved. They don't have to. Once you let the emotions get involved, you're giving away your power. And I'm talking this out now. I'm just starting to understand this. But I think that's one of the main ingredients, if I can put it as ingredients, of creating, manifesting your desire. Because your heart is correct. When you desire something with your heart, tell you now, it doesn't mean your desire is going to happen just because you line it up with your heart. But at least you'd be on the right path. But it truly has to be from your heart. Because if you're raising your vibration, your heart is cooking, man, it's boom. And you get this involved, that's when you're going to pollute it. You need to think properly. You need to think right. Whatever that is for you, to get the correct thinking down, and you can line that correct thinking desire with your heart. How do you release that energy? Well, for me, I'll lay down and close my eyes. Some people call it meditating. I don't call this meditating, but it is a form of meditating, I suppose. But I'm just laying down and I'm imagining the desire as it is, as it's happening. You know, as an example, I can feel my sand in the feet. Feel my sand in the feet. I can feel my feet in the sand. In this timeline, the second one makes more sense. I can feel the wind. I can hear the ocean. You know, that's just an example, but I'm laying there and I can feel it. After that, I'll say it out loud. I'll decree it. I'll decree it a thing. At least 3 times, and with meaning, with feeling, with emotion. And then I'm letting it go. And letting it go to me was one of the hardest things I had to get through to understand. But if I don't get through that letting go part, it doesn't happen. This is a point where I'll realize, I did it wrong. I missed something. You know, it's a learning process, and it's not that intricate. I make it that intricate. There's no other way I can explain it, because when I do actually do things and create it, I really can't explain it, because these things I'm talking about, I don't necessarily do anymore. These are the things I did a year ago, February, when I started this. And letting go is not, it was the last thing, but now it's not. The last thing is not to tell anybody, not to talk about it, not even to talk to yourself about it. You need to forget about it. That's part of the letting go. You know, telling somebody, hey, I'm creating this. Number one, it's not letting go. And number two, it's not part of the process. It's not part of what you need to be doing. Once other people get involved in what you're doing, their thoughts go out and pollute what you're doing and probably block it and everything else. Just a guess, but at this point now, a lot of those things I just explained, I'll just feel and meditate on it. And when I'm walking around, you know, I'll say it out loud, whatever. And then I go on to the next thing. That's how I let go, by moving on to the next thing. For the longest time, I felt like I was being very cold to people. Somebody's down and out, I'd go over, give them $1, keep going. God bless you. Thank you. No, buddy, just take the dollar. Because with all that comes emotion. And I don't mind if it's somebody I want to share my emotions with, or exchange emotions with. That's fine. But the news, spectator sports, computer games, all these things take your emotions. Don't even ask. They take your emotions and twist them, bounce them up and down, throw them against the wall. And because they're your emotions, and this is your distraction that you just chose to be distracted by, which is fine. I do it all the time. Well, not all the time now, but I mean, YouTube is a form of distraction. You know, so I'll get on YouTube and I'm listening to somebody that's saying something pretty interesting, and I think this is okay. In a sense, it is, because at least I'm feeding my mind information that is going to help me, or at least I feel so. But you know, jumping on and listening to garbage, this is what you're doing to yourself. It's like they're taking those emotions and then they ship them on back to you all destroyed. You know, you don't know if you're happy, sad, or angry. And it doesn't even matter what's going on in your head at that point, because it's in your body. It's a vibration. It's an energy. It's flowing through you. And you'll watch these things and do it. And I've sat down and watched movies knowing that it's a program. And I'm getting a program, I'm sure. So because I know that, I'm not accepting it. And, you know, I'm just looking for the signs, or I'm looking for something, a symbol, you know, because I know what they're putting in these things. And also, you're not doing yourself any favors. When you're playing a computer game and you know that it's just programming and you're distracting yourself, you're not doing yourself any favors. Everything seems to be geared towards or built around dumbing your emotions down so that you don't have control over them. And I'd say it's fairly easy to take control of your emotions. Just do it a couple of times. Get your head out of the way. Your head will get out of your own way. Your head will get in the way. Just go for your heart. And I am trying everything I can. I don't know. I've tried everything over and over and over again. I'm going to get it right this time. And here we go. take 37. First, I'll apologize for missing my take 38. I'm going to apologize for missing my own show Wednesday. Wednesday morning, 2 a.m. Yeah, it's a busy day for me. I worked on my day off. I spoke with the publisher. I had a lot of things going on with the book. I wouldn't have really been alert for the shows, and things weren't working out with the microphones and everything else, so I just figured out I'm not supposed to do it. Let me put it off. But this show coming up Wednesday, 2 a.m., the 28th. I have Sean Indigo coming on. We talked. We're going to do a little chat for a couple hours. I hope we're going to talk about the event. I have so many questions, and I've seen a few videos. I've seen everything from everyone's going to see it at the same time, and you're not going to be able to deny it, to it's just fear-mongering. And I don't agree with it being fear-mongering. I think this is something that could be taking our emotions, and we're getting excited and waiting again. It just seems like something we do. I've heard about this. I've read about it since the 80s. So, and different terminology too. I mean, I remember photon belt and a bunch of things. I don't know. It's Bill Cooper, Vladimir Valerian information. But what they're saying now, I'm interested in. I'm for it. I suppose it's going to be a change. I love the different things I'm hearing, and it's coming from different sources, from what I'm seeing as well. So I don't know. We'll see. I mean, Sean will have a chat about that. But this video is mainly for me to get out some old videos that I put together last December and January, and I just want to get them off the board here. They should have been posted back then. The content's still good. One of them is about the blue moons, which we're having another one next week, the 31st, Saturday. And I've checked that because the one in March changed on me, so I've double and triple checked that. It is Saturday, the 31st. We'll have our second blue moon of the year. And I've said it before, I think full moons, probably more so blue moons, blood moons, whatever, super moons, have some sort of energy to them in September and March. That's what it seems like, and it's a good time to get right and shift into the timeline, dimension, consciousness, reality you want, you desire. And I think that can be anything, depending on what you feel in your heart and believe. I mean, what you focus on with your heart. I don't care what it is. I don't care what they're doing outside, okay, out there. It's about your focus and what's in your perception. And if you're going to let them come in and be in your perception, then that's what you're going to experience, and there's no way to get around it. Most of us, including myself, have been so indoctrinated with a lot of that stuff that, a lot of that's in motion. And now that we're actually creating, whether we realize it or not, that some of that stuff might come into play. It's just depending on where you want to go, where you want to be, because I'm quite sure you can just shift in and out. I'm not saying I'm doing it. Sometimes I think I do. I think it's that easy. I don't mean to be flip about it, but I've seen, I've felt so many negative things starting to come my way that I just push them away and they're gone. It's not my focus anymore. And if something happens and it goes down, it's because I put those things in motion in the past, and they're coming to fruition. Because I'm actually experiencing things now in my life that I desired in the past, that I don't necessarily desire now, but I'm experiencing them. You know, the creativeness in all of us, that's what we're supposed to be doing. I'm quite sure of it. I mean, do I know? No. Do I have a patent on it? No. I got theories, but I'm sticking with it. You know, I'm going to speak plainly. You know, there are quite a few theories out there, and there could be a bunch of them mixed in together. But I do feel that we have some sort of control, or we have some ability that we can use the energy and shift into what we more want and what we desire. I don't feel or believe that it's, you know, I'm sitting around waiting, because that's all we seem to be doing is sitting around waiting. Now we're all sitting around waiting for the event. No, you got to put it into action. It's about you. It's about you. It's got to be about you first, and you have to get right with your mind and your heart and line everything up, because if you want to create as a collective, if we want to create as a collective, you got to know how to do it individually, and it's your thoughts are involved, thinking right, acting right, how you interact with other people, because it really doesn't matter if we're all in other dimensions, living on a ball or a triangle, or shifting in and out of timelines. It doesn't matter. What matters is how you interact with other people. But when it comes down to it, you know, I sit here and I break everything down. The analyst in me, it's like I break every single thing down to the point where, okay, yeah, this is what I think's going on. I think our consciousness is shifting through timelines. I think we're experiencing multiple dimensions. I think we can use that. I think we can use it to our advantage. That's where my focus is. That's what I'm going to experience. You know, if you're focusing on what's going on TV, and I finally got the mic right and I keep hitting it. It's what you're going to experience. There's no way to get around it. You know, well, I want to be informed. I don't think it's necessary. I don't think you have to be informed. I mean, if you want to, go ahead. It's been so. Oh, I went off here, didn't I? Well, looking forward to Wednesday's show. Minute is Mountain Time, 4 a.m. Eastern. And I believe that would be 1 Pacific. All right, now I'm going to put these, string all these videos together for you. Enjoy. Keep in mind they were from December and January. Peace out. What was I saying? I was like this plug call sign thing. Stay serene and shift on. No, stay focused and shift on. I think that's what it was. Who knows? Enjoy. You guys, a little bit of this beautiful day. Driving straight through the center of the Rocky Mountains. There's I would say big Mandela Effect that I've come across. I believe I heard it on Hidden Knowledge's channel about the liver being in 2 parts. I just thought that was. I looked at some pictures and yeah, it's there. It's 2 parts. I don't remember it being that way. I remember it just being. It's about what's in your perception. I know we're all connected. I know I am part of the whole. I know the whole world, whatever it is, I'm part of the collective. But from my perspective, what I've been seeing is, okay, these background people, they may exist just in a timeline so far off removed that they're background people. Doesn't mean they're not real. Maybe it means they will ascend or go through the event or whatever it is we've been going through at another time. It's quantum. I mean, in some form, in some way, it's quantum. Multidimensional beings. So yes, I do understand that I am part of the whole, and the things that are going on out there matter, but it's all really in here. It's all really inside. Yeah, I really feel like I need to elaborate on that before I go on to these videos that I really like you to see. Everything's going on inside you. So you're watching TV, you're saying, okay, just entertainment. That's what's going on outside. First off, it's an act. It's not real. You're watching a fictional movie. You're watching Star Trek. That's the same thing as watching TV. It's an act. It's, to get your adrenaline pumped up, to get your emotions going, to control your emotions. So you don't have control over your emotions. I'd say distract yourself, entertain yourself some other way. Write a book, do a video, start a YouTube radio thing. It's like, what did I do? Where was I? Oh, what's nice about this? I can pause. What I'm saying is, if you're making it about your perception and the people around you and how you interact around them, we can create a more peaceful, happy, loving, plain planet, existence, reality, realm. If we're all staying within ourselves and being who we want to be through our heart. Let me get to these videos now. I've said enough for now. Enjoy again.
Something I really wish I added on to the last video, and maybe I'm going to sit here with an editing program and try and put all this together. January, we have a blue moon, which is 2 full moons in a month. This year, 2018, we have a blue moon in January, which means we already had a full moon, and we're going to have another one on the 31st. Now, I really seriously recommend at least 3 days, probably 4. Get rid of all your habits for a while. Cleanse. No release of sexual energy. Don't eat meat because it's putting bad energy in your body. I ain't saying don't eat meat. Be careful of the energy you're putting in your body. That's what I'm going to say. All your habits, just chill out on them for a while. I'd say 3 days minimum before the full moon, and a couple days after, whatever. I think, something's with the full moon thing as far as shifting and changing. Something's with September full moons, October full moons. And also, now here's the thing with this calendar. January, we have 2 full moons. February, we will have no full moon in February. And another blue moon in March. March 1st and 31st, I believe. January 1st and 31st. March 1st and 31st. 4 full moons in 3 months. And none in February. Found that interesting. Wanted to throw that out there.